It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back. I'm here. It is showtime, the Geno Jones Showtime. So I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. If you're in Chicago, 5:30. If you're out in Los Angeles or up in San Francisco or Portland or Seattle, 3:30. Subscribe, share, screen grab. Means pull a video clip, pull a video clip, make it go viral, rip some video, pull whatever clip is, pull as many clips as you like, make them go viral. It's all good. Subscribe, share, screen grab, like, and binge watch all my back episodes. The Geno Jones Show brought to you by CM Transportation. CM, like Mary, Transportation. If your business needs a dependable, reliable, on-time transportation company, because the one you got is kind of like, janky. Janky. For those who don't know what janky is, just like really lousy and no good. Or maybe you just started a business or you're about to open up a business and you were looking for a dependable, reliable, on-time transportation company. CM Transportation, www.cmtransportationllc.net, cmtransportationllc.net, or you can actually call them. Ask for Krystle Carter. Carissa Carter. She is the CEO. Tell her I told you to call. 843 is the area code. 606-2702. 843 area code 606-2702. All right, it's like today's show is going to be like for the ladies. For the ladies. That should have been my caption. For the ladies. Somewhat. As a matter of fact, my guest, part of the Geno Jones Show family. You've seen her, a former state representative. She's an author, a very successful author, and still involved in government. And we're going to talk about, I just want to, I want to allow her to come on because you still have so many states, including the one I'm in now, South Carolina. They were early with this 6-week abortion ban. And now what happened in Arizona. So they pulled this law. They pulled this law from 1860, like 4 out of their ass, to make abortion illegal in Arizona. And as a matter of fact, Arizona wasn't even a state at the time. So what are we doing here? And how dangerous it is. I mean, I want you all to really to get the real, and it's important. And man, listen, you got to understand something, all right? So, because today I don't have time for the misogyny and the sexism. So I know some of you all are just, look, I'm a man, but I'm calling it like I see it. And unfortunately, there's some men who's got this backwards ass. I'm talking about men that look like me. This got this backwards ass, patriarchal, misogynistic, sexist attitude, which is weird because some of those men, they have daughters, they got sisters, and they wouldn't tolerate that kind of energy, that kind of energy and sexism and misogyny and patriarchy toward their daughters or their nieces or like their sisters or even their mom. But I digress. So we'll talk about it. First, shout out to my Aries. Aries, celebrate. It's your time to shine because in a couple days, we already know what time it's about to be. Tauruses, stand up. But today is still Aries' time to shine. Marty Lawrence. Marty Moore. Man, how many movies? So many, I can't name them all. Just some of my favorites. House Party from back in the day. He was the DJ. Boomerang. The movie Life with my man, the late Bernie Mac, and Eddie Murphy was in that one. The movie Blue Streak. Big Mama's House. Both of those, it was like Big Mama's House 1 and 2. Thin line between love and hate. And of course, all the bad boys. Bad boys, bad boys. the franchise, which I absolutely love, and I'm so happy. That was a great pairing to pair Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. As a matter of fact, Bad Boys Ride or Die, this is supposed to be it for real, for real. It's coming out on June 7th. So I haven't been in a movie theater in a while. I don't think I've been in a movie theater since COVID. Damn, I just thought about that. 4 years? 4 years? COVID hit 4 years ago in March. Yeah, I don't think I have. Maybe one? I might have been in a movie theater one time. I digress because it's not about that. Anyway, happy birthday, Martin Lawrence, 59 today. Rapper Akon, rapper businessman Akon, 51. Speaking of rappers, repping the shot, repping the 312 and the 773, Chancellor Bennett, a.k.a. Chance the Rapper, 34 today. Happy birthday, Chance. And you hear a lot of talk about the GOAT. Because this term GOAT is really, y'all don't want this GOAT out. The GOAT is dead. Because so many people, the GOAT this, the GOAT that, the GOAT that. The GOAT, an acronym, which means a word where each letter, each alphabet represents a word. So GOAT, that's an acronym for the greatest of all time. So just kind of shorten it up. So, and there's so much talk about the GOAT in basketball. Okay, Michael Jordan, all right, he's a GOAT. So it depends on the generation, really. Because, of course, you got Michael Jordan's, folks that believe Michael's the GOAT, they believe he's Black Jesus. Actually, that was a nickname he had, Black Jesus, among some folks in the NBA when he was playing. But now, like the newer school, they checking for LeBron. And LeBron is still balling at 39 like he's 29. But the real GOAT, if you really want to know the real GOAT, who the real GOAT is, he's celebrating a birthday today. He turned 77, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Won every championship, high school. I know he won at least, one or two, his team state champions. College basketball at UCLA, 3 straight championships. The only reason they didn't win 4 in a row, because back in the day, they wouldn't allow freshmen to play varsity. True, quick story. It's an urban legend, but it's true. So the incoming freshman, I guess way back in 60, because Kareem, so he would have been a freshman in 68. So his incoming freshman class, these young boys were balling. Now, the juniors and seniors at UCLA, the varsity team had just won the national championship. They were college basketball champions in 67. So you had these incoming freshmen that came in 1968 who, as the story goes, played. These freshmen that had probably never really played before, all incoming freshmen at UCLA played some of the guys that were still around who won a championship not even a year before, the spring before. And Kareem's incoming freshman team of UCLA beat the upperclassmen. Now, there's some stories they beat them by 20, 30, 40 points. But anyway, and then Kareem came to the NBA, won an NBA championship in Milwaukee, then got traded to the Lakers, got 5 more championships, 6-time NBA champion, 6-time MVP, 2-time NBA Finals MVP, the real GOAT, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 77 today. So happy birthday, Cap! Happy birthday. How many times have you heard me say on this show, the most disrespected, unprotected, neglected person in America is a black woman? Now, Malcolm X wrote that line. That is part of a speech that Malcolm X delivered on May 22nd in 1962. Unfortunately, 62 years later, that's true. I saw a story of an Uber driver, an African-American woman in her early 60s, just doing her job as an Uber driver. And apparently she was, someone used a Uber app to hire her, and I guess she accepted the job to pick up a package from a porch and to take it somewhere. So when the woman gets there, this old racist ass MAGA looking white dude, 81 years old, comes out. Now keep in mind, the woman, she's got the app. The app requests that she pick up a package from this address and take it somewhere else. So this old MAGA dude comes out, and unfortunately the way the story ends, because the woman tried to get away, he shoots and he kills her. The climate that's been created, I talked about it enough. This climate of hatred, fear, ignorance, bigotry, racism, anti-blackness, along with anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim hate, anti-immigrant, all that. And right there with it is the misogyny, the sexism, the patriarchy is like on steroids. All you got to do is look at, you got 15 states now that have virtually banned abortion. If Orange Hitler gets in office, even though he's trying to I left it to the states, but he's the one who's been bragging. He's bragged for years. I'm the one that got rid of Roe versus Wade, the Supreme Court decision that protected a woman's right to determine what to do with her body. So instead of me standing here and riffing, because I've done that. I've got 2 daughters. I got a mom. I got 2 sisters. I got nieces. And I just got a sense of compassion, humanity, empathy, and humanity. And I know men would never tolerate a government, a God, and no God, and nobody else telling them what to do. Men would never tolerate it. Never. Jesus, Allah, Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad, Buddha, all the gods you can mention could come here in the flesh to tell men what to do with their body, and the man would look at all of them like, man, you out of your mind. You ain't gonna tell me what to do with my body. Men would never tolerate it. So why men, if you wouldn't tolerate it, then why do you want to impose? Why? Because it's not about protecting life. No, not at all. It's about power. Just like rape is not a crime of sex. It's about power and control and domination. Don't take my word for it. Talk to a rape counselor. They'll tell you the same thing. So this need to want to control women's lives and bodies is just, to me, it's just a sign of weakness and insecurity. But I digress. But my guest, former South Carolina State Representative, she's currently working in local government, and she's an author of a soon-to-be, I'm speaking it into existence, New York Times bestseller, Even Broken Crayons Color. There's the lovely and talented, my sister by another mother, with that billion-dollar smile. Boy, man, your dentist must get a lot of money because your teeth are beautiful. They are like pearly white.
Thank you, Geno. Thank you. Yes, you got to keep your body together, your hygiene.
Yeah, you absolutely do. All right, so listen, you kind of heard my monologue, but I wanted you to come on. I know last time we talked, I think we wanted to talk about it more, and I just wanted to, because you have a unique perspective, and I know you've shared that before, as a mom of 5, as a former state legislator, so you understand, you know how to write legislation, and you still work in local government. And you are a black woman in America that has to deal, institutional, corporate-wise, or just walking down the street or going to the store, not just with the racism and the anti-blackness that unfortunately still exists, but the misogyny and the patriarchy and the sexism. And you just see it playing out in more and more states. I think when the decision was made, when Arizona, they pulled this law out of their ass. How you pull a law out your ass from 1864 when your state was not even a state?
The Arizona law bans abortion from the time of conception. Most of us don't even know when we've conceived, right? It's weeks later that you go and you get tested, or you take the little test at home, that you finally realize that you're pregnant. My problem with all of this is, as you have stated so many times, the people making these laws don't look like me, right? And so that's in every faction. Not only are they male, but they're white male. Not only are they not working class or middle lower class, they're normally very self-affluent. When you have people making decisions in a room and they take all the human features out of it, you end up with this crazy shit that we get right here. So there's no human factors included in this, right? There's nothing that talks about the baby daddy, right? I keep saying that, right? You can just shoot your sperm all over the country and nobody gives a damn. But the moment that a woman, right, gets that sperm in her and the eggs create a baby, now it's a big deal, right? Now it's a problem. Now it's something to deal with. And so that is why women are going to decide this election. Women are going to be the voice, that the hand that rocks the cradle. We have to be, because if not for us, who? Obviously, they can't handle this responsibility. So, there's so many myths that go around about who this is going to affect the most, and does it really matter who it affects the most? So much as the fact that it's something that should not exist in the society that we live in these days. I mean, we've come past getting your husband's permission to get your tubes tied. We've come past all of these other things, but now we're running right back into that with abortion. And then the GOP's so-called fear of what is it? Or replacement, the great replacement theory,
White
about white
replacement
folks not
theory.
being the white replacement theory, about white folks not being the majority anymore come 2040. Abortion is not going to stop that pendulum from swinging, right? It's not going to do anything that's going to make that change. Historically, families of color typically have a large ratio of babies anyway, right? So we come out of the 1800s centuries where, and I want people to really get this, Geno. It's closer to home than we think. So women of color in prison, even into the 2000s, were still being sterilized without consent, without permission.
Wait, so
Imagine
Krystle,
somebody taking away your baby making abilities without your permission.
yeah, but do me a favor. I just want to stop you there because I want that to sit with people, because that's, things like this are not talked about in like your corporate media. And one of the reasons I do this show and I use the humor and entertainment and celebrity guests to get people's attention so we can have conversations like this, real honest conversations that never get a platform. Because I think some people watching this show now don't realize that practice in prison of sterilization, especially affecting black women and brown women, women of color, has been going on, and it wasn't that long ago. So if you don't mind, speak to that, because people really need to know that.
So sterilization started when these white doctors said that they wanted pretty much, I'm going to make it my terms, the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme, the most intelligent people, right, should be having babies. And those that are not should not be having babies. They should not be procreating and giving birth to little ones that will end up being like the big ones, right? So that's how sterilization became a thing. So in large part, that was, of course, who? Us, Black women, not Hispanic women, non-whites. I mean, if you talk about the fact that we didn't have access to education and everything, I guess you could measure it like that. But it doesn't really make sense. And it's been widely debunked over and over and over again. So when you talk about eugenics, people use that word eugenics. Yeah. It just simply means giving birth to smart offspring or offspring that is going to be, they tried to predict the prison, the crime rate based on eugenics. They tried to say, well, if you commit crimes and give birth to children, your children will commit crimes. And we all know that, of course, that is not factual or based on anything factual. So here you get into the sterilization of non-white women because they don't want us to give birth, because they're saying we're the lower echelon of people as far as who's going to pass down traits that are beneficial to society. So they sterilize you. They take away your ability to have children. And a large part of that was done without consent. The state that had the most was North Carolina.
Wow.
Like 65% of the women that were sterilized were women of color. But women of color only made up 33% of the state at the time. So anytime somebody tells you a number and they say the percentage of as a whole is small, but the percentage of affected is large, it's egregious, because how can the number be larger than the proportion that exists? That is what a lot of people, I think it goes over their head and they just kind of tune out because they're like, I don't know what that means. Well, that means that it's being done disproportionately to this group of people. North Carolina was the third largest state for sterilization of non-white women. Like, it's crazy. Right next door to us, right? So
Krystle, let me ask you, was that primarily happening in prison, and how legally were they, how did they get away with it?
No, it wasn't even in prison back then. It was happening in the hospitals when they were giving birth.
I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was just happening in regular everyday hospitals. It was happening. It could still be happening now in prison. We don't really know. I mean, we're still fighting for them to unshackle women to give birth in prison, Geno. So understand that here in South Carolina, we had a bill that did not get made into law, even as like in the last few years, that says women can be unshackled during childbirth. If you have ever pushed a baby out of your vagina, imagine doing it shackled, hands and feet, shackled. That is some crazy shit.
They were doing that, women who were delivering babies in prison.
They do that now.
Wow.
They do that now.
Oh my God.
Handcuffed or shackled. Like, that is some crazy shit. Do you hear me? That is some crazy, insane shit. So they're still doing it now, but the sterilization, it goes into the 2000s. So for those who think that it's so far removed in ancient history, it's actually not. And these women were sterilized without their knowledge. There's a lot of women that are still alive right now who were sterilized, that are telling their stories. There was a young lady in Georgia who got pregnant. Did she get pregnant? I don't know if she got pregnant or not, but she was 14 when she was sterilized. At 14 years old.
So here's the irony, Krystle. So some of the same men in power with that same ideology and that mentality and wanting to preserve whiteness, which I have to say this again, for my white brothers and sisters, you do all understand that whiteness is a made up, it's a construct, it's a power structure. There's nothing in the human genome that will say white or black or yellow or red. It's not. So it was made up, and it was made up back in the 1860s to really divide and conquer the poor and the working class. I've talked about that many times on my show. But here's the hypocrisy, Krystle. So that same ilk of men in power are now telling women, even if you are a victim of rape or incest, you gotta have a baby now.
Yeah, so it's even worse than that, right? So not only if you are a victim of rape or incest, but also if you have embryos, right? So they included embryos in that Arkansas, it even included the embryos. So now this is a multifaceted problem, because now you're running into people suing IVF banks that bank the eggs for people to have babies. They're suing them for destroying their embryos once they conceive, which is typically how it works, right? You don't necessarily you have to fertilize several eggs with the hopes of getting one, right?
Right.
And so they're suing these IVF facilities for destroying the eggs after they've conceived, which is the whole plan in the first place. So you're opening up so many people to lawsuits that you're going to find that people are starting to do what? They're leaving. They're running from this industry because they're going to have to up in their entire life just to do what they love to do because of the risk, right? The risk is not worth the reward. And so now they're walking away. And what happens when that happens? Poor people suffer. Rich people will find a way.
Yep.
They will fly to a doctor, drive
Always
to
did,
a doctor,
yep.
fly one in, but poor people can't get to them as easily. So what happens? We end up having to find ways around the system. We have to really carve into our everyday lives to have access to the same care and same resources that folks that are more affluent do regularly, regardless of whether the law changes or not. And that is why you run into problems when it comes to making laws in silos, making laws in these rooms where you don't have the humanistic factor present, where you're not talking about the real life impact of what this will be. That is how this becomes even more and more problematic, because once this industry dies down, you already have rural areas that don't have doctors. You already have areas that are already in starvation mode when it comes to the healthcare. So add this on top of that, and it just keeps getting worse. You have the woman in Ohio who's on trial right now. She had to have her baby aborted to save her own life, and because of the law there. And so also I want to bring up Ohio for another reason. So you remember they put it on the state ballot for all so even though it was over 50% of the voters that wanted it to be women's choice.
Yeah, 60% actually.
So now there's a lawmaker that's trying to go around that and make it a federal thing that will override states' rights. And this is where you get into the shit with the GOP, right? Because Trump is all over the place with his crazy ass. So first he was all about Roe versus Wade being gone. Now he wants us to be determined by the states. But now the states are trying to make it federal, because in the states where the states voted and they want to keep it, you got this conflict happening, right? This is why you can't let people make blanket laws that affect everybody, because they're crazy as shit. And people are finicky. They're liable to change their mind one day and be one thing, and the next day be a whole nother. It's crazy as. Do I personally want to get an abortion? No, but I don't want to be in between nobody else's legs either. That's between you, your God, and your family. And if the dick donor ain't going to be in the bill, I really don't want to hear about it.
I love you, Krystle. All right, listen. Before, on your way out, I want you to do this for me. I want you, because I think it's important that men and women, because there are millions of men who feel like I do, who just see the hypocrisy and just foolishness of trying to tell somebody what to do with their body. Because, like I said, men would never, ever, ever do it. But I want you, what would you say? Okay, here's a thought experiment. Because I know most men with that mentality and attitude are just, you can't get through. But you know, it might be one, but not just them, but just the men in general. I would just love for you to, in a way, and I'm going to use my mom as a quick example. The abuse that she went through as a younger woman, she explained it to me in a way that really hit home. It wasn't just that she put a human face, but the way she talked about it, it was like telling a story in a very descriptive way that really resonated, and it was like, wow. Because a lot of times, you hear these debates on TV, but I would just want you to speak to men to get, men to understand that these decisions that are taking women's reproductive freedoms, don't think that it's not going to affect you, because it will.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, I would say if I was talking to men who act like they don't understand, imagine that we take your deepest, darkest secret about your genitalia and we make it so that you have to report it, right? If you're incontinent, you can't get hard. Your wife can't catch an orgasm if it was flying in the wind, and you have to get this medicine. So let's say you had to be on a registry in order to get this medicine. There are a lot of men who are ashamed about watching porn. So imagine that society is now saying, in order to watch porn, you got to give your name, your address, your phone number, and your email to get permission to go on this site. That is what you're asking these women to do by saying they can't get it unless they report it to the police. They can't get it unless they're doing all these things. Not only that, but please remember that sexual assault, majority of the time, statistically, is by someone that you know and that you trust. So if your daughter is going to your brother's house, right? Because uncles, grandparents, they're not ruled out. Family members are a large part of molesters.
Yeah.
So imagine your daughter is going to spend the night with her cousin, and your brother-in-law or your brother is molesting your child.
Or a step
and
parent.
Because or a step parent, because your child doesn't want to hurt you, hurt your family, or is embarrassed or scared, they don't want to tell you. Imagine forcing them to tell the world in order to get relief. You never think it's going to be you until it's you. Imagine your daughter putting a hanger up her coochie to get rid of a baby that she did not want because she had a moment of weakness. All of us live and grow as humans, and we have moments of weakness. When you have sex, a lot of times there's a lot of hormones going crazy that happen. But imagine that your daughter is one of the ones who got pregnant and this law is passed, and all of a sudden now she doesn't know what to do. Her dad is a legislator. She doesn't want to disappoint him. She doesn't want to embarrass y'all family name. And she panics and she gets a wire hanger. I remember these days, y'all. A wire hanger, and she sticks it up her vagina where your dick would go. She's putting a wire hanger up there trying to abort this baby, throwing herself down the stairs trying to abort this baby. I grew up in the age of the black trash bag babies that they found in the dumpsters. Yes, this is graphic, Geno, but this is the reality of what women deal with when they talk about having babies. If you read my book, you talked about my book. In the beginning of my book, I tell the story about when I got pregnant with my first son and how I wasn't sure about what I was going to do. And in my mind, I was going back and forth about whether I would have an abortion or whether I would have the baby, and what the church people would think and what my family would think and how I would raise them and where we would live and how I would feed them. And oh my God, I wasn't expecting this. The second time I had sex, I wanted to go back to school, and all of that is going on. And you mean to tell me while I'm trying to process me, I also got to process you? I got to process the law, all the while trying to deal with all of these emotions and decisions all at the same time? That's crazy. When I was 6 months pregnant, I had a DNC before I had my daughter because I miscarried. And I didn't know, and you have to make the decision now. When they took me to the emergency room, I couldn't see. They said I could give birth to a dead baby, or they could put me to sleep and clean me out so I didn't get an infection or whatever, because you can die from that infection.
Yeah.
You have to make that decision on the spot. I was not thinking anything about the law. I was thinking in my 22-year-old mind, I don't think I'm mentally strong enough to give birth to a dead baby. So what am I going to do? I said I'm the DNC, and when they put me to sleep, they cleaned me out. When I woke up, you still feel pregnant even though there's no baby there. So now again, I am processing the emotion of the loss, but I don't have time to process the emotion of the laws in the middle of processing the emotion of the loss. human
Thank you.
factor. When we get out of that, that's where we start to lose people. You can't ask me to process laws when I'm trying to process loss.
Well, listen, I want to thank you for being, but it's who you are and who I know you to be. But I want to thank you for having the courage and to wanting to be so transparent and to use yourself to share your very personal, intimate, painful story. I feel guilty that you even shared it because I'm sure it. I mean, just thinking about it's got to trigger emotions. But I'm so glad that you did, and I hope that all men, not just
It's
us
so
brothers.
many women that live through these things. If my story, what they say, if I could help one person along the way, then my living was not in vain.
So it's important. I just want to thank you for not just the honesty, but the truth, the unvarnished truth. Because sometimes, people can sit back and make decisions about other people's lives and not really understand on like the most intimate, personal, painful way how it really affects this person. You're making decisions, and these men making these decisions, they don't have a clue about all the things that you just said and the story that you shared, which is not your story is not unique. Your story is common. I one of my sisters, she lost a baby after 8 days. I had a good friend. She was we were all friends. This is 30 years ago. Out in California. So she had, and I had never heard, back in the day, I would hear my grandmother or my mother say, oh, she got pregnant in her tubes. So
that can kill you.
Yeah, but so the story is 30 years ago, my friend talks about his fiance had an ectopic pregnancy.
Yep.
Which was basically, that was what my grandmother was calling, she got pregnant in her tubes. And I'll never forget that my friend's fiance, because she got very ill. They thought they were going to lose her. Then she got better. And then one day we heard she died. I never forgot that, from an ectopic pregnancy or, being pregnant in your tube. So there's so many things that can happen. And for, these lawmakers and these old ass men to be so cavalier and not even, because first of all, they're too dumb and ignorant to know anything about it, and too arrogant to listen and understand how dangerous what they're doing are. So I just thank you for sharing that and for putting it where my grandfather or the late Joe Madison would say, putting it where the ghosts can get it.
The ghosts can get it. Yeah.
Just saying it. You gave, as I call it, straight no chaser. Krystle gave you not the 80 proof. She gave you the Bacardi 151 with no chaser, no Coke, no Coca-Cola, none of that. You're gonna just turn this thing up and take it the way you need to take it, and hopefully that'll resonate with somebody. Because, like you said, and I've said it before, it's not you, it's not your daughter, it's not your niece, it's not your granddaughter, it's not your sister, it's not your mother until it is.
Yep.
Then when it is, then it's a whole different, it's a new day. It's a different story.
Yep.
You want exceptions, and the same compassion and empathy and humanity that you would show if it was your daughter or niece or granddaughter or sister or mother, then you need to show that same level of compassion and empathy and humanity to any woman in that situation. Because that woman is somebody's mother or daughter or sister or niece or granddaughter. So afford them the same humanity, the same compassion, and the same empathy that you would want if it was a woman that was near to you. So talk briefly before you go. I know your book signing was a success. So I don't know, are you doing some more tour dates? And let everybody know, if you haven't got the book, shame on you, but get it, because this is going to be a New York Times bestseller. Let everybody know where they can go and order the book. I'm sure you've got like autographed copies, so if they want to, step up.
I do. I had to order my second batch, which is
great.
good. Thank y'all
Congrats,
for
man.
the
That's
love
big.
and support. If you don't have the book, you can order it on Amazon. It's Even Broken Crayons Color by Nicole Spencer. That's my pen name, Nicole Spencer with an H in it. Please buy the book and support. Really read it. Women, I need y'all to step up. The men have outbought y'all 2-1 on this book.
Really?
And the first review was
Krystle,
from a man on Amazon.
People who are watching, let me jump in, sorry. But for people who are watching, this is important. Kind of give them like a little Cliff Notes synopsis of what the book is all about.
So the book is about, I say this book is for anybody connected to single mothers. This book is a place where, so in the beginning, I talk about my story and how I got pregnant with my firstborn and kind of what my mind had to go through. But then I go into venting, right? Giving us a space where we can just say the shit we really want to get off our chest, but I don't leave us there. Then I take us into solutions, some of our biggest obstacles that we face and trying to get through them. I'm putting more tools in your toolbox to give you the things that you need to think outside the box, to be able to fight back, to be able to grow, to be able to have hope to cling on to on those days where you feel like you don't have anything left in you to give. I'm trying to get you to dig just a little bit deeper and find something that you can get to give to yourself, right? Because if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of anybody. Social media will have you out here trying to raise the next Obama. How about you just be the best parent you can be? You don't have to try to be the next parent to raise an Obama. Do your best. Worry about you in your house. Worry about what's going on around you and what you're instilling into your children. Not what they got to say about what you do with your child support. I'll talk about that too. Not what they got to say about how you spending your time and how you spending your money. Nobody knows how the details of motherhood get done, but we do. Because when the ball drops, we pick it up. Those little details, how the school lunch is going to get done, how the field trip paperwork is going to get done, taking days off to go on a field trip, you trying to climb the corporate ladder. I talk about all of that. That male-dominated system that we work in, that we often we deal with that internally, because every time we have to leave, there's a man somewhere breathing hard because he don't feel like we're worthy because we're being mothers too. I talk about all of that. Your breath is just as good as his, and you don't have to level yourself down. Matter of fact, you're doing better, because not only are you doing what he's doing, but you're doing what he's doing and some. So are you special because you're a single mother? Yes, you are special because you're a single mother, and not because you got pregnant and made a baby with somebody that left you as a single mother. You're special because you wake up every morning and you do what needs to be done in spite of everything else, in spite of your own flaws, your own bad decisions, in spite of your insecurities, in spite of you not having your needs met, you still manage to get it done. That's what the book is about. Go get the book.
That might make y'all just buy a whole case of books and just pass them out to all your family members, the women and the dudes. Like, all right, come on, dude, get your, yeah, brother. Most of y'all are good, but you over here, a couple of y'all need to read this book. So, Krystle Matthews, aka Nicole Spencer, thank you. You are, like I said, so we're gonna talk about it. Tom, I'm producing this show on camera in real time, like I did before, but with the energy, the complete package as a personality that you are, because you got the personality skills with the receipts to match. So I like to do this maybe like once a month. Just create.
I'm down.
You got your own little feature, and we'll just talk about whatever you feel that's relevant, and whatever issues. Whatever.
Well, I'm down. The next thing we need to talk about is this DEI stuff that they doing now, and
okay.
And
it's funny.
Did not earn it stuff. Let's talk about who didn't earn what.
No,
I
like
we'll
that.
Talk
Let's
about
do
the
that.
DEI.
As a matter of fact, I think I'm gonna do that. So last week I had he's a family member, part of the Geno Jones Show family. Sean Mitchell. He's an attorney. He's also a professor. He teaches at Chicago State University. And he kind of broke it down, because you got some black folks that's talking about, DEI is BS and it's a joke and all that. So he had to come on and set the record straight about what DEI is and what it's not. So yeah, we'll definitely do that. But it's so much that we can talk about. But listen, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for giving that perspective. Y'all need to, this episode, there are a lot of lawmakers y'all need to send this episode to. There are probably some dudes in your family or that that you need to screen grab some of this, and that last little 10 minutes of what Krystle just gave you, the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts, but as my grandmother taught me, she said, Jeannie, the truth needs no defense.
That part.
It's a lie
right
that you always trying to defend because it ain't rooted in truth. You ain't got it. The truth, she said, it's like the truth that you can put it on the table and just sit it there and just go on about your business. Because the truth ain't going to change. The folks around them may want to try to change and remix the truth, but the truth stays on its own.
Amen.
Thank you. She said, amen. All right. The doors of the church, we're open now. We got to close the doors of the church. Krystle Matthews, a.k.a. Nicole Spencer, my sister, is always, I love you, respect, you are amazing. We appreciate you and thank God to have you as part of the Geno Jones Show family.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy your evening. So we'll see you back soon.
For sure.
All right.
For sure.
Oh, right. As a matter of fact, right before Mother's Day. There you go.
Yes.
Something special for
there
Mother's
we go.
Day. Because
I like it.
I'll tell everybody about Mother's Day because this Mother's Day is going to be very special because the day before Mother's Day is my baby girl, my last daughter, is graduating from college. So yeah, that's going to be
nice.
So yeah, we'll have a whole lot to talk about. So all right, thank you, Krystle.
Bye, Geno.
All right. She is fire. I told you, but y'all know you've seen this show before, so you know Krystle ain't no joke. She ain't nothing to play with. I just got to click a button. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you. You and especially you, God, most of all. Thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. The Geno Jones Show brought to you by CM Transportation. If your business needs dependable, reliable, on-time transportation, because you don't have it or you need it, you're starting a business, CM Transportation, that's cmtransportationllc.net, CM like Mary, cmtransportationllc.net, or call 843 area code 606-2702, 843 area code 606-2702. Ask for Carissa Carter. Carissa Carter. She's the CEO. Tell her I asked you to, or tell her I told you to ask for her. Her company will take care of you. Shout out to Markel Bailey, the CEO of Designer Cuts. He is the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. You can check him and check his artistry. He is a master barber and a hair artiste and hair artist. Check him out on IG, on Instagram, Kel B Cutting Up, KELBECUTTINUP. And Allie Jones, she is the official wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. You can check her out on IG and on Instagram, and her collection, LX.NCL underscores that little dash at the bottom and behind that second, the very last L on IG, on Instagram, LX.NCL underscore. All right, I love you. Thanks for watching, everybody, watching me live. Hello, Mother, how are you? I love you. I'll speak with you later. And I just thank everybody that's watching me live. And if you didn't get a chance to watch me live, but you're watching now, thank you. Whenever you're watching the show, once again, thank you to Krystle Matthews, a.k.a. author Nicole Spencer. Get her book, Even Broken Colors, or Even Broken Crayons Color. Let me get it right. Even Broken Crayons Color. That means the crayons could be broke. I hated that, man. I remember getting those 64 Crayola crayons in that box. And if I had one crayon that was broke, I had to get a whole new box of crayons. That was crazy. Then my grandfather would get me a whole new box the 64 Crayola crayons, because one of my crayons, every crayon had to be like in the perfect order, in sequence. Couldn't be missing one. Couldn't have a broken one, like missing teeth. I had to have all 64 crayons in my Crayola crayon box. All right, I didn't know where I just triggered that memory from and pulled that one from. Well, I guess because of the title. So make sure you get the book if you haven't gotten it. Even Broken Crayons Color by Nicole Spencer. And she spells it NicholeSpencer. That's her pen name. All right, everybody. The next live edition of the Geno Jones Show is going to be Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. It'll be 5:30 in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. on the West Coast. All right, Lakers, you're playing tonight. Handle your business, AD, Anthony Davis, and LeBron. All right, it's go time. It's go time. Y'all, you won the in-season tournament. Now, this is the tournament that really, really matters to get that Larry O'Brien trophy, to get that big gold trophy with that big gold ball on top of it. Ball out. Do what you do, AD. You've been balling this year. Show them how we ball on the south side of Chicago. And LeBron, just be LeBron. And, D'Lo, D'Angelo Russell, and Spencer Dinwiddie, Austin Reeves, he calls himself Hillbilly Kobe. Well, we're going to need you to be Hillbilly Kobe and Larry Bird. Do your thing, too. All right, everybody. Shout out to Angel Reese. Shout out to Camila Cardoso. Camila Cardoso was one of the stars of the University of South Carolina Lady Gamecocks. They won the women's college basketball ship this year again. Coach Dawn Staley and Angel Reese, whose LSU Lady Tigers won the women's March Madness tournament last year in 2023. They both were drafted by the Chicago Sky. So shout out to those sisters, Angel Reese repping B-More, Baltimore, and Camila Cardoso, my Afro-Latino sister repping Brazil. Ball out. Y'all gonna love Chicago. Oh, man. And Chicago is gonna love you all. And congratulations to all the ladies that were drafted the WNBA last night. I'll see you live Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.